Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios. I hope you remembered to turn your clock back last night, if that was the area in which you live. That's probably the only thing that got me out of bed this morning, was thinking that technically it's 8 o'clock when it was really only 7. So we are continuing our hashtag 12 Weeks of Christmas 2022 series, which I am co-running with Brian Dickey over at B&D Crafts and More. His link, as well as other official participants' blogs or YouTube channels, are linked in the description box below. And if you're new jumping into this series on my channel, what I am doing is I am taking a 6x6 template and doing what they call one-sheet wonders, which means you cut one 6x6 sheet of paper into a designated amount of pieces, and you make your cards with them. Now, I am doing two things. Number one, the first week that I introduce a new template, we are making cards. Then the next week, we will take that same template and we will make embellishments for a junk journal. Now, I've started working on the junk journal itself. I hope by next week to have this put together, which is my cover and my signatures, and then we can start putting pieces together. So, this week's comes from sptteacherspet.blogspot.com. That blog is also linked in the description box below. Now, this is what we're working with this week. And give you a chance to screenshot that. Okay, and remember, you can always put this into slow speed, or you can pause it, whatever you need to do. Now, one big tip that I give you every week is, remember that when you're cutting your template apart, cut on your continuous lines first, and then come back and do the chop-ups. So this first one is 6 inches by 3/4 inches. Then we cut this one off, and we wind up with a 1 1/4 inch by 5 1/4 and a scrap. And then we cut this one down, giving us two pieces, 3 inches by 4 inches. From the holiday paper pack that I'm working with, I chose to work with the Santa hats this week. I'm trying not to lose things here as I'm working on putting the studio back together. November is going to be a really crazy month for me, and I'll tell you about that here in just a minute. But this is the pattern we worked with this week. This was a perfect way to use the Santa hats because we have actual strips to work with. So, let's see. This one is actually the 6 inch by 3/4, and you can see here I made a little bit of a boo-boo, but that's okay. I may just totally demolish this card and do it from start it over, because while the strip is 6 inches long, the card is only 5 1/2, and I failed to remember that when I matted this on the vanilla cardstock. So I'll probably redo this one. I also used my dual oval punch, and dual oval punch from Stampin'Up. And while I don't have my stamps unpacked yet, I did have this one from the November Paper Pumpkin, which is all about the Christmas. We have a Santa face, we have stars and snowflake, holly jolly, Santa Claus is coming to town, which goes perfect with our Santa, reindeer, and sleigh. Deliver to, merry, ho-ho, 'tis the season to be jolly, Christmas and holiday. So that's what I worked with. And I played with several different things to do. So we started with our 6 inch, cut it down. Now this would have been, cut this down to actual, the mat is 5 1/2, so I cut this down to 5 1/4 by 1 inch for the mat. So the mat is 5 1/2 by 1 inch, and then this I cut down to 5 1/4 by the 3/4 inch. And then this one, and where did I lay my sheet so I'd have the dimensions? This one is 5 1/4 by 1 1/4. So that means our mat has to be the 5 1/2 by 1 1/2 for the very vanilla. And then I've come back and I've added the little gold bling on these. Now these are really super simple. This one is stamped in Pretty Peacock, and this one is stamped in Real Red, and that's the same as the cardstocks below them. So we have those. Now, had this not been a one-sheet wonder, I would have paid a little bit more attention to the detail on where I was cutting this paper, because you can see the Santa hats get chopped off. We've got a double row here, so I would have used a full row of the Santa hats here and tried to position that here so I had partial hats above and below. But that doesn't always work out that way when you're working with a one-sheet wonder, but I still like the effect. And then for those two 3x4-inch pieces, I just put a little bit of the Dollar Tree vintage lace on the bottom. These are, the mats are 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then the 3-inch by 4-inch designer series paper on those. So those are our cards. Let's get these up just a little bit, see if I can get them all in frame without covering too much anything. So those are the 4 cards we made this week. Now we do have that little snippet piece, remember, and it's buried in this box somewhere. But that little leftover piece, which would be 1 1/4 inches by 3/4 inches, I can take and use this maybe as a tab in the junk journal. It doesn't go to waste. So we're using as much of the 6x6 paper pad as we can. So there's our 4 cards for this week. This is the paper we used. And I could have, even on those bands, instead of using the Santa hat on the front, I could have flipped it over and used the reverse. That's the neat thing about 6x6 paper pads, or any pad. Most of them are two-sided. And you can do these templates with anything. Just search Pinterest for One Sheet Wonder. They have them for 12x12, they have them for 8.5x11, and they have them for 6x6. Or you can take a piece of draft paper, 6x6, and draft out your own and see what you come up with. Be creative. So that is it for the cards this week. Real quick, as I said, November is going to be a really super busy month for me. This is about my 20th year of doing what they call NaNoWriMo, which is short for National Novel Writing Month, where in the month of November we have 30 days to play a game. Our game is to see if we can write 50,000 words of a brand new novel in 30 days, which comes out to be 1,667 words per day. Now, it really isn't as tough as it sounds. I've done it a couple of different times. My first book that I'm going to be re-releasing next spring, I wrote in 22 days. So there is that. And I'm thinking I'm going to have, I'm bringing it out in print, which means I'm going to have to do some word adding to give me a good spine on that one. Right now it almost qualifies as a novella. So anyway, Bob leaves on Tuesday and I dive back in. I have 3 goals this month. Try and keep up with some of my videos. I'm not going to be back to a regular video schedule till January because I'd like to also enjoy my holidays. I'm getting the house dug out so I can decorate in full for Christmas, and there will be a Christmas walkthrough. Cross your fingers. And then I'm trying to write book 2 in my series of Plan to Perfection, and this one is called An Ozark's Homecoming. I will link to my author channel down below, although there's not a lot down there, but I'll also link to the blog where you'll find a little bit more about me as an author. You can also follow me on social media as Angela Drake A. Somebody had Angela Drake, so I tacked on the A because it's Angela Drake Author, so that works for me. Okay, so remember to check in with all the links of the other participants. Their links are in the description box below. You'll see lots of creativity. Everybody's getting their Christmas stuff out of the way. And there's still time if you want to jump in. You can do Christmas cards. You can catch up on your Christmas scrapbooking. You can do a December daily. You can test cookie recipes. Start planning your holiday menu. Whatever you want to do for this 12 weeks of Christmas 2022. I'd love to see what you're doing. I will apologize, I've not gotten around to any videos for the most part this month on this string. It's just with Bob being home 4 weeks. I was sick the first week and a half in October. I had conference the second week, and Bob's been home, and I've been trying to prep for NaNoWriMo, so it's been a little busy. So I hope to get caught up here in the next week or so after Bob leaves and I have a little bit extra time. He did put me on a schedule. So when he is home now, he's figured out that I cannot take 3 and 4 weeks off of work when he's home. So now when he's home, I work either 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 with a break for lunch and maybe a card game. And that has really helped me get some stuff done this next week, or this last week. So we test run it, and we think we can work with that when he retires. But if I don't start selling some stuff in my Etsy shop and I don't get some books written, there will not be any retirement anytime soon. So that's also on our game plan. That is it for me this morning. Remember to like, share, and subscribe because there's more coming your way. Creative blessings.